예, 안녕하세요. 11월 기타 정기세미나에 참석해 주셔서 대단히 감사합니다. 저는 오늘 진행을 맡은 기타 남가주 한국기업협회의 세미나를 담당하고 있는 롯데주류 법인장 김경동입니다. 반갑습니다. 네, 오늘 많은 분들이 참석하셨고요. 오늘 우리 신현수 회장님도 참석하셨고, 그 다음에 샌드라 리 커미셔너 분도 참석하셨고요. 그 다음에 오늘 메인으로 미스터 던 류께서 오늘 투어리즘 관련돼서 세미나를 진행할 예정입니다. 오늘 세미나는 우리 한국의 한국 기업들이 마이크 좀 꺼주시기 바랍니다. 제 목소리 잘 들리시죠?
네, 잘 들립니다.
네. 오늘 세미나는 한국 기업들이 미국에 진출할 때 여러 가지 아쉬운 점들, 필요한 점들이 많습니다. 그래서 예를 들어서 어떻게 정부 기업하고 접촉하는지, 어떻게 또 정부 기업들에 내가 설명을 해줄지, 홍보를 해줄지, 이런 부분에 대해서 굉장히 좀 필요한 게 많은데 어떻게 접촉할지 잘 모르지 않습니까? 그래서 마이크 좀 꺼주시기 바랍니다. 그래서 오늘은 오늘 모신 분은 미스터 던 류라고요. LA의 투어리즘 오피서입니다. 투어리즘 이그제큐티브 투어리즘 디파트먼트에 지금 근무하고 계시고요. 이 LA 관련된 모든 정부 관련된 일, 그 다음에 관광 관련된 일들에 대해서 모든 것을 다 이렇게 관련해서 행사를 주관하시고, 오피스는 LA 컨벤션 센터에 있습니다. 그래서 여러 한국 기업체들과 LA시 또는 정부 기관들과의 이제 중간에서 이런 역할들을 해주시는 분인데요. 오늘 미스터 don을 모셔서 한국 기업들의 필요한 부분들, 이런 부분들을 좀 설명을 좀 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 미스터 don을 설명하기에 앞서서 샌드라 커미셔너께서 나와주셨는데 잠깐 인사 말씀 하시겠습니까? 샌드라 리 커미셔너.
예, 안녕하세요. 저는 샌드라 리고요. 지금 현재 LA시 투어리즘 디파트먼트의 커미셔너로 임명돼서 volunteer직을 하고 있습니다. 여러분을 이렇게 줌으로 뵙게 돼서 반갑습니다.
네, 감사합니다. 오늘 세미나를 진행해 주신 미스터 던 돈님께서는 오늘 영어로 이제 세미나를 진행하시는데요. 혹시나 여기 계신 분들의 편의를 위해서 영어 교육기업 링글의 이경훈 이사님께서 채팅으로 한국어로 번역을 해주십니다. 그래서 채팅이 한국어로 번역이 필요하신 분은 채팅방을 열으셔서 한국어로 좀 도움을 받으시고요. 그 다음에 이 11월 정기 세미나는 유튜브로 또 방송이 됩니다. 그래서 이게 세미나가 끝나고 나면 11월 기타 11월 정기 세미나로 유튜브에서 찾아보시면 오늘 진행한 세미나를 유튜브로도 볼 수가 있습니다. 자, 그럼 오늘의 강연자, 오늘의 세미나의 주인공이신 미스터 돈 씨를 소개하겠습니다. 미스터 돈유.
안녕하세요. Thank you, Cloud Kim, for that nice introduction. Appreciate it. And thank you to my good friend Janet Burt for inviting me to speak this morning. It's a great honor to be here today. Also with our commissioner, Sandra Lee. She's my boss, if you will. Yeah. So she was appointed by the mayor and is one of our 5 commissioners. And I also see my very good friend, Alex Kim. Alex and I started working together. Actually, he used to work for me 21 years ago. So a long time ago in Mayor James Han's office, back when I was a Bushijang for James Han. But Thank you, and I'll go ahead and share my screen and get started with our presentation today. Can you see that okay? Very good. It's my pleasure today to give you a brief overview of the Los Angeles City Tourism Department. Let's see. My name is Don Liu. I am Korean, even though it's spelled a little bit differently. My name is Yu Don in Korean here. My dad named me after Donamdong neighborhood in Seoul. And so that's how I got my name. I've been with the city of Los Angeles for, well, since over 21 years, since 2000. Actually, I started in 1999, so 23 years I've been with the city of Los Angeles. I had the great pleasure of representing the city of Los Angeles. Here I am with the mayor, Garcetti, and my counterpart in Seoul and the mayor of Seoul at the time, signing an MOU between Los Angeles and Seoul to cooperate on tourism policies. We did this back in 2018. My department vision is to essentially drive economic development and job creation by increasing the competitiveness of Los Angeles into a tourist and convention destination. I forgot, James Lee is going to translate for me, so I don't know, go ahead. Should I stop after every slide? James, you want to catch up?
No, go ahead. I actually prepare a little bit so that I can just add it right away.
You're just doing it in the chat. Okay, very good.
Yep.
Essentially, my department oversees two businesses. One is the convention center, which is behind me here. We have a contract with ASM Global. They're an affiliate company of AEG, who you may know. AEG owns the former Staples Center. Now it's called Crypto.com, and LA Live. They also own the LA Kings and the LA Galaxy and a number of venues around the world. And then we also have a contract with the Los Angeles Tourism and Convention Board. This is a nonprofit organization that was started in the 70s by the city of LA. And they're in charge of marketing the city, not only for conventions, but for visitation. And they have offices all over the world. I wanted to share with you some of my goals and priorities that my department has. Number one, most important one for me right now is to expand the convention center. This is an aerial shot of the Los Angeles Convention Center. This white portion is what we hope to do, a $1 billion expansion plan that we're going to do jointly with AEG. AEG is going to build a new hotel, JW Marriott expansion right next to their hotel. And we're going to do, that's about $1 billion. And our project is another $1 billion here to connect the two halls of the LA Convention Center. So that's our one of my first goals, and we want to get this done in time for the Olympics by 2028. Another goal of mine is to attract hotels to Los Angeles, but in particular, downtown LA. We don't have enough hotel rooms to support large conventions here at the convention center. By the way, here's the expansion that we're planning of the convention center. So we're looking to build probably another 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 hotel rooms in downtown LA. We currently have about 5,000 hotel rooms. That's double what we had in 2013. We want to build another at least 3,000 more hotel rooms. So we're looking at helping developers get their approvals to build large hotels in downtown LA. Another goal that the mayor asks me to watch very closely is the number of visitors that come to Los Angeles. So we set a goal of trying to get to 50 million visitors every year. And we achieved that for the first time in 2018. almost doubling in about 10 years the number of visitors that come to Los Angeles. Obviously, the pandemic really hurt our chances at continuing that great record of visitation. So in 2020, we dropped to 26.9 million visitors. But last year, we just under 40 million. And this year, we expect about 46 million. So I think by next year, we should be back on track with our 50 million visitor goal. At one point, we were predicting by 2028, the year we have the Olympics, we could have as many as 70 million visitors to Los Angeles. So here's a graph showing the historic numbers of where we were. So you can see here we were at 42 million in 2013, and we got to 50 million in 2018. Our highest was about 51 million. The pandemic hurt us quite a bit, but we think we're going to be on track to probably get to 50 million by 2023, 2024. The other metric that I am very concerned about is the revenue that my department contributes to the city of Los Angeles. And I'm one of the few departments, if not the only department, that actually contributes money to the city's general fund. And in 2018, 2019, we contributed over $300 million in tax revenue. This is the hotel bed tax, or the hotel tax. When a visitor stays in a hotel, they pay an additional 14% on their hotel bill. And in 2018, 2019, the city collected over $300 million in this TOT, or transient occupancy tax. And it's a very important revenue source for the city of LA. Oops, sorry. And then lastly, my department has put together a tourism master plan. This was a 2-year undertaking, very intensive work by my department, really to assess all of the assets that the city of Los Angeles has, and what we need to do to build infrastructure to prepare for as many as 70 million visitors in the coming years, right? So it's not really a marketing plan. That's what LA Tourism Convention Board does, the marketing. This was really a tour destination management plan, which really talked about the things we need to do to build more infrastructure. So like the convention center and more hotels, and the things we can do to help the tourism industry attract more people here to Los Angeles. So that's things like transportation, metro, the airport, and other projects like that. So if you're interested, on our website, you can go to our website and review this plan that we put together a couple of years ago. James, is this a good time to stop to ask for questions, or should I keep going? Or Janet?
Yeah, I think you should go ahead and collect some Q&A.
Okay. Is there any questions at this point anyone might have?
혹시 질문 있으신 분들 있으시면 여쭤봐 주시면 좋을 것 같습니다.
No? If not, I'll continue. Okay.
있으시면은 진행하도록 하겠습니다.
I know that Janet wanted me to talk about sports, in particular the Olympic Games, but I thought I would talk about all of the mega events, the large events that we're having coming to Los Angeles in general. And so you can see last year we had the Major League Soccer All-Star Game at the Bank of California Stadium. And then earlier this year, we had the Super Bowl in February at SoFi. We had the Major League Baseball game in Dodger Stadium. And you can see almost every year for the next 10 years, we have a major event. This is unlike any city in the United States or even the world that can host these types of events almost every year. So coming in January, we have the College Football Playoff Championship at SoFi Stadium. We have WrestleMania Believe it or not, this is a huge event, but they're coming in April. We have the US Open Golf Championship in June. That will be at Los Angeles Country Club. We have the CONCACAF Gold Cup Soccer Finals in July. This is the continental championship for the national teams of all the countries in North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. In 2024, we will be hosting the Western Regional College Basketball Finals at Crypto.com Arena. And the US Open's golf tournament will be coming to Riviera Country Club in 2026. One event that I'm really looking forward to personally is the World Cup. We are one of 16 host cities, so it's we're not getting all of the games here in Los Angeles. It's actually spread out all around the country, and actually Mexico and Canada as well. But as a host city, we will probably have at least 5 or 6 games here in Los Angeles for the World Cup. And then the big one, of course, is the Summer Olympic Games and Paralympic Games in 2028. And that's something I've been working on since 2013, and our original bid when we submitted it in 2014. So I've been working on this for quite some time, but we're very, very proud of the fact that we won the Olympic bids for 2028. And you can see we talk to people about events all the way out to 2039. So the US Open will be returning to Los Angeles Country Club in 2039. We're actually hosting the Women's Open Golf Championship again in 2032. And we're also talking to, we're bidding on Rugby World Cup, men's and women, in 2031 and 2033. I just wanted to go through quickly the events again. This is the college football playoff at SoFi Stadium coming up in January 9th. We've got one thing I didn't mention, NASCAR is returning for the second time to the Coliseum. Pretty incredible event that they can build a racetrack on the floor of the Coliseum. It takes them about 4 to 6 weeks to build this, but they'll be returning in February. We've got, as I said, WrestleMania in April. We've got the US Open Golf Championship in 2023. Later this year, and the CONCACAF Gold Cup final later next year as well. This is a horse racing. The Breeders' Cup is the one, what they call the 4th major, but it's a large event that will be returning to Santa Anita Racetrack later next year. And as I said, the basketball championship at Crypto.com Arena. We've got US Women's Open. This is at Riviera Country Club in the Pacific Palisades. And then the World Cup will be played mostly at SoFi Stadium. And as I said, we'll have at least 3 to 6 games there. And then the big one is the Olympic Games in 2028. I know Janet wanted me to talk a little bit more about the Olympic Games. This was a bid that we originally submitted in 2014 to the US Olympic Committee. So the process is, you first have to submit a bid to your national organization. And so if you recall, we were in competition with Boston, Washington, DC, San Francisco, and New York for a bit of a time. And we actually lost the bid for the USOC to Boston. And Boston was selected by the USOC in 2014 to host the Olympics. This was for 2024. And Boston at the last minute pulled out. They withdrew their bid because the community didn't want to host the Olympic Games. They had a lot of traffic issues. They had financial problems, and so they decided to withdraw. And that's when the Olympic Committee came back to us and said, would you be willing to would resubmit and be the US applicant for the 2024 games. I was able to go to Lausanne, Switzerland with the mayor and the Olympic Committee when they decided to go ahead and award the games to 2 cities for the very first time ever. So they awarded the games to Paris for 2024 and to Los Angeles in 2028. And we had a bit of a negotiation with the IOC and with Paris. And in order for us to give up the 2024 spot and take the 28 spot, we asked for contributions to our youth sports in Los Angeles. And so as early as last year, we're starting to get annual payments from the IOC to help the city promote youth sports through our Recreation and Parks Department. This is kind of the, in general, how our bid was submitted for the Olympic Games. And we're very fortunate in that we don't need to build any new stadiums or arenas. We have everything already built. And that's kind of the strength of our bid. And so we basically created 4 sports parks, 4 hubs throughout the city that will host the majority of the games and events. In addition, there's a residential hub here at UCLA for the athletes' living quarters. But you can see we have the downtown sports park, which will include the stadium, the Coliseum. It will include places like Banc of California Stadium and the Convention Center, where we will be hosting 5 Olympic events and 7 Paralympic events inside of our building. There's one in the Valley, mostly in the Sepulveda Dam area. There's one South Bay Sports Park, which is near really the Carson area, where Dignity Health Sports Park, home of the LA Galaxy. There's a velodrome. There's a tennis stadium there as well. And then in Long Beach, many of the water sports like sailing and rowing and the like will be there. This next slide and my last slide shows how we initially presented the locations for the games. This is subject to change, of course. Many of the events will be here as it's listed, but there's a good chance that some new events will occur. We already know that surfing has been added as one of the sports, rock climbing, I believe, skateboarding. So those will be added to this map. And some sports will be eliminated or not be part of the game. So there's potentially some other changes. And you can see in this, we did have the LA Stadium here, but that's the SoFi Stadium, which will probably host the closing ceremonies of the Olympic Games. That's all I have to share right now. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. James, if you want to help me there.
Of course. 이제 발표는 여기서 다 끝나신 것 같고요. 혹시 궁금하신 점 있으시면 자유롭게 그 질문해 주시든지 아니면은 챗 그룹에 남겨주시면 제가 그 번역을 하도록 하겠습니다.
Thank you, Don. That was great. One of the things that I want to ask you, because KITA members are made up with a Korean corporation. They're involved in manufacturing, construction, hotel development, you name it. One of the things we want to find out is in preparation for all these great sporting games, which Korean people are passionate, right? Soccer, golf, you name it. What are the things they could do in preparation to look for the business opportunities or marketing opportunities, sponsorship, and such?
A good question. I have to say that it's been very difficult to work with many of the organizing federations. I shouldn't say difficult, but it's challenging because the IOC, of course, operates the Olympic Games. And so they have a whole level of sponsors. So you really have to enter into a long-term contract with the IOC to become an official Olympic partner. So there's a certain level of partnerships there. And then the next level of partnership is with what they call the the national NOC, so the National Organizing Committee, right? So that would be the U.S. Olympic Committee, and so they have their level of sponsorships and partnerships, and so they're companies that have spent a lot of money to become the official, soft drink of the U.S. Olympic team, right? So Coca-Cola has a big contract with the USOC, and then the next level is the LOC, or the Local Organizing Committee, but the Local Organizing Committee can't get any sponsors that compete with any of the USOC. So we couldn't go out and get Pepsi because Coca-Cola is already a USOC sponsor, or we can't compete with the IOC sponsorship. So very, very technical. I would venture to guess that the large Korean companies, Samsung, LG, Hyundai, they're already talking to IOC and USOC, and maybe even the LA 28 committee about large sponsorships. Your other question about was construction. And as I mentioned before, there's really no stadiums that are required to be built. So there's no large infrastructure that isn't already under construction, like the airport expansion or the metro expansion. Those things are already happening. But as far as stadiums and venues, nothing needs to be built. We already have everything. We have so many, in fact, that places like Dodger Stadium and the Rose Bowl may not even be used in the Olympic Games, believe it or not. So that's how many venues we have in the LA region. There is opportunities for hotels, but I have to say, no developer is interested in building the hotels just for the Olympics, right? That's just 10 nights. And so no one would build a hotel just for 10 nights. So it needs to make sense for a long-term investment. But the city is very open to helping developers properly locate hotels and other developments in the right locations. But obviously that has to be just more than just for the Olympic Games, has to be an opportunity for others. Now, there are other, some of the other opportunities, for supplies and other businesses that maybe manufacture or import items that might be needed by the contractors or the event planners. The city has a program called RAMP, R-A-M-P, and that is an opportunity for local and minority-owned businesses to register their companies. And there's an actual effort to try to give as much business as they can to local businesses. But other than that, I would say that you guys probably know better how to find the right opportunities and the connections that you need to make the business work for your companies. But yeah, I'm sorry, I can't be more helpful than that. It's a little hard to say, and the Olympics are still 6 years away. So I think right now they're still trying to figure out, exactly where everything's going. And it will probably start in earnest after the Paris Games in 24.
추가로 질문하실 분 있으면 질문해 주십시오.
지금 LA 올림픽에 대해서 이런 이 메가 프로젝트를 진행하는 그 중간에 지금 한국분 류 씨가 여기 있는 게 참 반갑습니다. 여기까지는 번역 좀 해주세요.
It's glad to have you as a fellow Korean to be part of the preparation of the big events such as Olympic.
그런데 지금 LA 시리만 그런 것이 아니라 우리 코리안 커뮤니티들로서도 앞으로 10년 이내에 있을 가장 큰 메가 선물이 바로 이 올림픽 게임이 될 것 같은데, 여기에 대해서 우리 코리안 커뮤니티의 어떤 이 협조나 지원이 필요하거나 또 요청하는 그런 사항이 있으면은 어떤 것이 있는지 질문하고 싶습니다.
We still think that Olympic will be one of the biggest events for not only for LA, but for Korean communities in LA and Orange County. He wants to understand if there's any opportunity for the community to be able to participate in there or contribute.
Yeah, the Korean community, of course, will much like all of our diaspora communities will play a large part. The Olympic Committee is still very small since it's 6 years away, but they are already starting to do outreach to the Korean community, to all of the major communities in Los Angeles. There'll be fan festivals and what they call, I know that we have something called USA House in Paris, right? So every country will have, so South Korea will have its own kind of headquarters here in Los Angeles. So I think many of the countries that will be coming for the Olympic Games will start in the coming years building out their kind of headquarters here in Los Angeles. Many of their federation teams will have training centers in preparation for the Olympic Games. And then, I think other opportunities, there'll be lots of volunteer opportunities, right? For the Korean community and all communities that want to help with the Olympic Games. And then, as I mentioned, the business opportunities will start to come as contractors are selected and suppliers are needed for the games. So I think there'll be a lot of opportunities for the Korean community.
관련해서 지금 코리안 커뮤니티하고는 뭐 그렇다 하더라도 그럼 우리 기타에 대해서는 어떤 것을 기대를 하고 원하시는지 묻고 싶습니다.
He's curious to understand if there's any outside of the Korean community. He also wants to understand if there's anything as a KITA, as a corporate association, if there's any way for the members to be able to contribute and participate.
At this point, it's too early to tell. I think I do know there's a couple of Korean American community members that are on the Olympic Organizing Committee. But again, it's going to be, I don't think KITA as an organization has a role necessarily in the planning of the Olympics. Most of that is happening by the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, and then the LA Organizing Committee. I think many of your members will have opportunities for sure, and I'll do my best to reach out to KITA whenever I hear of opportunities for KITA or any organization that wants to contribute. I think there will be plenty of opportunities, and I'll do my best to make sure that I communicate that to organizations like yours.
I am very happy to have this join this meeting, and it's a kind of a great opportunity for our KITA and the Korean communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, specifically related to the hotel expansion and as well as the convention center expansion and modernization. I think that's like live project, and I think you guys haven't figured out fully what's gonna fill the gap. So from that perspective, is there any contact point who will be leading that effort and where Korean companies can actually participate in as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're very close to getting the project approved by our city council and the new mayor. So we think next year we'll have our approvals. We have a construction partner, so AEG, who operates the convention center and Staples Center and LA Live and the Marriott. They'll be our development partner, so they'll be in charge of the development. We have the project, almost 35% designed already. There's a general contractor that has been selected. So as we do the expansion, the hotel and the convention center, those companies will be looking for, their subcontractors and other companies to help them. So I would anticipate that design probably will take another 6 to 9 months to complete, and then construction maybe beginning of 2024.
네, 감사합니다. Mr. John, I have a quick question.
Okay.
Could you give us more about college football playoff which will be held next January?
I'm sorry, say again?
Yeah, could you give us more information about college football playoff?
Oh, the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's coming in January 9th at SoFi Stadium. This is for the college NC2A, Division I college football playoffs. They will have the top 4 teams at the end of the season will play a tournament. So number 4 will play number 1, and number 2 will play number 3. I can't remember the locations. I think it might be Fiesta Bowl and the Orange Bowl. So those will be the 2 semifinal games, and the 2 winners of those games will play in the finals. So we won't really know who is coming to LA until January 1st or so, when those big bowls are played. So number one, I forget right now who the top 4 are. Ohio State and others. Somebody else could probably tell me where it currently stands. But and then the top 2 teams in the country will play for the national championship, and it's fun because we get people from Alabama or Florida or Clemson, all over the country come to Los Angeles just for this game. So much like the Super Bowl, it is a very festive championship, but it's challenging for the hotels, right? So you can imagine the hotels have to reserve the rooms, but they don't know who's coming, and so the individual reservations don't start to happen until a 1 week out. So it's the hotels get a little nervous, but they know that people are going to come. They just don't know where they're coming from. And even interesting things, we just introduced a motion into city council about putting banners all over the city on our street pools, but we had to submit the permit without knowing what the banner's going to say, right? Because we don't know. So it says welcome, blank school, blank university. And so we're asking the city council to approve these banners without really knowing what the final artwork will be, because we don't know who the schools are until about a week out. And then the printer has to go really fast and print these banners and hang them up before the teams come.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
There were
네.
2 additional questions. One was is that Rose Bowl game used to be held in Pasadena? That was the first question. And the second question was about the recent attack of the Korean stewardess in LA. Thinks that there's the safety issue is a huge issue in those kind of events. He's asking if there's any plan for the safety improvement in the city.
Yeah, the Rose Bowl. Let me do the Rose Bowl first. Yes, that's the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, and the Rose Bowl game will still be played, of course, at every January 1st in Pasadena. Let me address the really unfortunate and sad incident that happened at the Target in downtown LA. First of all, we're very sorry that this happened, and I don't know the details yet, but it sounds like this Korean Airlines stewardess might be a hero. She really, there was a young child that was in danger from a man who had a knife, and she she intervened to help this child. I don't know all of the details, but boy, it sure sounds like she's a hero. And we need to thank her and really wish her a speedy recovery. I don't know the extent of her injuries, but my understanding is she should recover. But again, wow, what a remarkable thing to do, to step in and help a young child that she didn't even know. So we're very grateful for her. You know, that I think overall, you know, crime is a major issue to all cities in the United States. And it's certainly one that we focus on here in Los Angeles. I haven't had a chance to talk to the chief of police about this incident yet, but I know that they're focusing on doing the best they can. You know, it sounds like this person may have had you know, some mental issues. You know, thankfully security was there too and intervened as well. I think they may have even you know, apprehended the perpetrator before there's any more damage done. But I think we're going to be doing a lot. This will cause us to do even more careful and more thorough evaluation of how we really address the downtown area. I got to say, this is very unusual for this particular location. You know, the Target right there at 7th and Figueroa, next to all those hotels. It's not a usual occurrence, and it's not a usual location where there is crime. But yes, I think I know that the chief of police and the police department and the new mayor, of course, will be focusing a lot on how we deal with the, you know, this homeless population that is affecting a lot of businesses. And I know that Mayor Bass has made it a top priority of hers. So I'm sure we'll be addressing this and coming up with more plans soon.
Don, Mr. Liu, I wonder if I can share your presentation materials, and then how can I access to your presentation materials?
Yeah, Janet, will the presentation be available? I'm fine with, if you want to share it with them.
Okay, thank you.
예, 저희 기타에 저희가 오늘 그 미스터 돈이 발표하신 그 프레젠테이션 자료를 공유해 드리도록 하겠습니다. 예, 오늘 시간이 이미 많이 흘렀습니다. 오늘 그 세미나는 여기서 종료하고요. 종료하기 전에 이게 오늘 그 올해의 마지막 세미나거든요. 네, 마지막 세미나인데 저희 기타의 신현수 회장님 계시면 잠깐 인사 말씀 듣도록 하겠습니다.
안녕하세요. 저 기타 회장 신현수입니다. 오늘 그 단 류께서 저 좋은 정보 많이 공유해 주셔서 대단히 고맙게 생각하고요. 우리 기업들 입장에서도 이러한 정보를 잘 활용해서 앞으로 시티에 저희가 또 적극적으로 기여할 수 있는 게 있으면은 기여하는 기회를 찾아보도록 하고, 또 저희 기업 입장에서 비즈니스 오퍼튜니티를 찾을 수 있으면은 또 찾아보도록 그렇게 노력을 할 수 있으리라고 생각을 하고 있습니다. 좋은 프레젠테이션 다시 한번 감사드리고, 오늘 귀한 시간 내주셔서 참석해 주신 참석자분들에게도 다시 감사드립니다. 고맙습니다.
네, 감사합니다. 감사합니다. Mr. Don Amdong, Mr. Don, thank you very much.
감사합니다.
예, 감사합니다. 그러고요. 내년 1월 달에 저희가 여기 그 기타에서 그 LA 컨벤션 센터를 방문할 예정입니다. 그냥 일반 방문이 아니고요. 우리 저 미스터 돈께서 좀 그 스페셜 비지트를 할 수 있도록 여러 가지 그 편의를 봐주셔서 좋은 그 방문 일정이 될 것 같습니다. 저희가 일정이 확정이 되면 다시 공지를 드리도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 참석해 주셔서 대단히 감사합니다.